Big thanks to Into the AM for helping to support my channel. Use my coupon code RISTER or any of my affiliate links to get 10% off of any order. Thanks again to Into the AM. This past weekend, Sumabato SP47 went down in Japan, while all of North America was focused on Gamal, drawing in 312 entrants and being classified as an A tier, also known as a major. The top seeds of this tournament consisted of some of Japan's best players, like Miya, the 1 seed, and one of the 4 horsemen. Miya is looking to expand his massive pool of major wins, and is getting close to 7 or 8 of them for just the first half of 2024, as long as he can win this tournament. Right behind Miya are top seeds Yoshidora and Doramigi, both players who did really well overseas recently at Battle of BC6. They're both projected to go far, and are both hoping to clutch out a win over Miya to hopefully snag this major out from under him. And the rest of the top 16 or so seeds are rounded out by top Japanese players you're very likely familiar with. Toriguri, for instance, the best banjo in the world. Akakikusu, the best hero main in Japan and maybe the world, it's up for debate. Then you've got names like Shirayuki, Karage, Rizeyasu, Masa, and Alice. Most of these players have made top 8 at a major relatively recently, and all of them look to repeat those performances and make top 8 at Sumabato SP47. But what if I told you that this major would go so far off the rails that every single player who I just mentioned would get upset? This major was so chaotic, so insane, so absolutely bracket shattering that I truly believe that this tournament will go down in Smash Bros. History as perhaps the craziest major of all time. And today, we'll be going over all of it, seeing every single upset, every single loser's run, every single crazy moment, and seeing the end, where we're going to crown a player who has never won a major before. Without further ado, let's get started. The beginning of Sumabato SP47 was probably the craziest part, as the 2 biggest upsets happened in pools. Also, they were off stream, so forgive me for not being able to show them to you. But the 2 players we're concerned about right now are Miya and Doramigi. Miya was the 1 seed of the tournament and Doramigi was the 6 seed. However, both of them weren't gonna make it out of pools unscathed. Doramigi would lose his 2nd set of the entire tournament, losing 2-1 to Mersenne Primes, a Game & Watch player, in a dramatic upset to start off the day. But we're not done, because Miya, the 1 seed and one of the 4 horsemen, suffered a similar fate. Miya lost his 3rd set of the entire tournament, losing 2-0 to Xian. Who is Xian? Some of you might assume it's the ZSS player by the same tag, but you'd be wrong. This Xian is a hero player who's been grinding Smashmate. How long, you ask? Get this. Xian has only been playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate competitively for 5 months, and he just beat the 4th best player in the entire world. So what's your excuse for still going 0-2 at your locals? Anyways, I bring up these 2 players together for a specific reason. First of all, these 2 upsets were actually the first 2 of the tournament, starting us off with a bang. And secondly, because once they both made it out of pools on loser's side, in a cruel twist of fate, Miya and Doramigi actually had to fight one another. That's right, the 1 and 6 seed fought for 49th place, and ultimately, it would be Miya who prevailed 3-0, continuing his loser's run and eliminating Doramigi at 49th place as the number 6 seed, losing to double Game & Watch. We'll catch up with Miya later on in this video. But for now, the pool's upsets aren't quite done. Lunamato, a brawler main most famous for upsetting Ashimo several times, upset Karage, the 10th seed, 2-1, to make it out of pools. And Rosalina main Yamadi defeated Goryoka, the 16th seed, 2-1 to also make it out of pools. And thus, pools wrapped up at Sumabato SP47. We're not even in top 96 yet, and Miya and Doramigi have both been upset, along with multiple other hopefuls to take the tournament. But if you thought top 96 would have any fewer upsets, you'd be wrong. Let's first cover some solitary upsets. Rizeyasu, the 11th seed, lost a Game 5 set to pit main MTK, an upset that resulted in Rizeyasu being eliminated at 33rd as the 11th seed. Fan favorite hero main and 7th seed Akakikusu lost in a 3-1 upset to Kazuya main Rocky, dropping into losers and eventually losing to Sasusoro, the Rob main, to place 17th as the 7th seed. And lastly, even though this is more of a big losers run than a big upset, I have to take a moment to recognize Ocha. Ocha is probably the best Rosalina main in Japan, ? who's most famous for their insane run at Umebura SP10. Well, Ocha had a similar run here at Sumabato, coming into the tournament as the 63rd seed. Ocha lost to Raru in pools 2-0 as seeded, entering top 96 from loser's side. But from here, Ocha went on one of the most insane losers runs that tragically didn't have a single streamed set. Ocha defeated Wolfmane Shori and Inklingmane Levi, both 3-1, before winning the Rosalina Ditto over Yamadi 3-0. Next, Ocha clutched out a Game 5 win over Kazuya-mane Gia, and then got an insane 3-1 upset victory over 33 Parent Box. Unfortunately, Ocha would next lose to Kuropanzu 3-0, being eliminated at 13th as the 63rd seed after a 5-set losers run, and having his only streamed sets being the ones he lost. And now it's time for us to introduce our main characters for today's video, because every single upset after this point is tied to someone who actually made top 8. We'll start with the winner side of bracket and see how that went, introducing you to our primary players along the way. At the very top of the bracket we have Shupi, the up-and-coming Falco main, who defeated Yamadi and then got a win over Shion, the hero main who beat Mia. Their set actually ended up going Game 5, but Shupi clutched it out in the end, moving into winner's quarters. Once here, Shupi had yet another Game 5 set against Nizamamo, the Bayonetta main coming off of an insane performance at Mayasuma Grand Wars. The two of them went back and forth, but eventually it was Shupi who claimed victory over Nizamamo, and was our first player to make top 8, doing so through winners. Our next player to make top 8 is Ashimo, who's a bit of a special case. Ashimo is one of only 3 top 8 finishers who were actually top 8 seeds, with Ashimo entering Sumabato SP47 as the 5th seed. To make top 8, Ashimo defeated Toriguri 3-1 as well as Yoshidora, who had just defeated Fui in the Yoshi Ditto, in a 3-0 set victory. And although the set had a somewhat sad finish, a win is a win, and Ashimo advanced into winner's side top 8. The next 2 players who made top 8 were the other 2 who were also top 8 seeds. The first was Raru, the 2nd seed, who made top 8 as seeded, first defeating Shirayuki 3-1, and then defeating Raki, who had just beaten Akikigusu, in a 3-0 win, to make it into top 8. And our last player to enter top 8 from winner's side was Snow, the Mario main who came into the tourney as the 3rd seed. To make top 8, Snow defeated both Suna 3-1 and Yonepi 3-0, which means that yes, it's finally time for us to talk about Yonepi. Because you're probably a bit confused seeing a Pichu main make it into winner's quarters. He's also in the thumbnail, so he's clearly pretty important. So what gives? Yonepi is the best Pichu main in Japan, who came into the tournament as the 27th seed. He got through pools easily, defeating Takaberry 2-1 to make it into top 96. Once here, Yonepi first defeated Momon 3-1, and then had to go up against 33 Parent Box's Steve, a painful matchup. And even though 33 Parent Box took the first 2 games, Yonepi managed to do the impossible and reverse 3-0 him, moving into winners quarterfinals and casting 33 Parent Box down into losers, where he'd eventually lose to Ocha like we covered earlier. Of course, Yonepi lost to Snow in winners quarters, dropping into the loser's side top 8 qualifier. And who would Yonepi have to fight here? Well, brace yourselves, dear viewers, because Yonepi's opponent would be the 1 seed of the tourney, Mia. That's right, I bet some of you forgot about Mia, who, if you really don't remember, had been upset early on in pools by hero main Shion. Some of you may have also wondered what happened to all the other top players who were getting upset in winners. Well, the simple answer is that Mia went on one of the most insane losers runs of his career, and took all of them out. In losers bracket, Mia had defeated 6th seed Doramigi in a set we covered earlier that eliminated him at 49th. 18 seed Kome in a 3-0 sweep that eliminated him at 33rd, 16 seed Goryoka in another 3-0 that eliminated him at 25th, 12 seed Toriguri in one more 3-0 that eliminated him at 17th, and lastly, 20th seed Fui in a 3-1. The only player to take even a single game off of Mia, but who couldn't avoid being eliminated, this time at 13th. Mia had embarked on a 6-set losers run, and now had made it into the loser's side top 8 qualifier against Yonepi. And if you couldn't guess, Pichu Game & Watch is not a good matchup for Pichu, likely being -2. This is basically the Smash Bros. Equivalent of the Grim Reaper himself knocking at your door.
Is that the Grim Reaper?
Mia was the 4th horseman after all, and to quote directly from the Bible, this 4th pale horse was the personification of death, with Hades following him, jaws open, and receiving the victims slain by death. As the set progressed, our brave hero Yonepi brought Mia all the way to a decisive Game 5. But there was just no way that Yonepi could ever hope to clutch out this victory against Mia, right? No, you're not dreaming, dear viewers. In a clutch Game 5 scenario, Yonepi defeated Mia 3-2, moving into top 8 from loser's side and eliminating Mia at 9th place as the first seed. Pichu just made top 8 at a major in 2024. And I think with this result alone, Yonepi is now the forerunner in the conversation of best Pichu in the world. Sorry, Netoru, you don't just beat Mia and top 8 a Japanese major and not be first in line in that conversation. This is Pichu's best ever result since he got nerfed back in 2019. But before we get too excited, we still have to cover 3 more top 8 finishers. First up, we have Ake, the second best Paisley main in Japan, and 24th seed of the tournament. Ake got out of pools by defeating Kyan 2-0, and then once out, clutching a Game 5 set against Moneyright. However, a Game 5 loss to Nizamamo's Bayonetta, which notably saw Ake swap to a secondary Wolf, sent Ake careening down into loser's bracket early. Once here, Ake defeated best Roy main in Japan, Alice, in a Game 5 set, then proceeding to win another Game 5 set against Xian, who honestly, for all intents and purposes, is probably the breakout star of this entire tournament. Dude beat Mia after only playing for 5 months, and both of his losses to eventual top 8 finishers went to Game 5. Either way, Ake lastly beat Rocky, who we mentioned earlier for beating Akikusu, 3-1, to make top 8 from loser's side. Robert Kikusu is the player who is most famous for being the Donkey Kong who beat Spargo in pools of Delta 8. What you might not know is that Robert Kikusu is less of a Donkey Kong main, and more of a DK and Falco co-main. Robert Kikusu went on a huge run to top 8 at this tournament, but it was done using mostly Falco. Robert Kikusu, coming into the tourney as the 21st seed, lost to Torigudi in top 96 pretty early, as was seeded to happen. But in loser's bracket, Robert Kikusu got a few big wins, defeating Messia 3-0, MZK, the Duck Hunt main who top 8'd a major recently at Mayasuma Grand Wars in another 3-0, and then upsetting 15th seed Shirayuki 3-1. Lastly, Robert Kikusu clutched out 2 wins with Falco, first defeating top Japanese Rob main Sasusoro in a 3-0 win, and then clutching out an impressive Game 5 set victory over Nizamamo's Bayonetta, which eliminated Nizamamo at 9th place after losing to double Falco, both in Game 5 sets. Robert Kikusu, on the other hand, moved into top 8 from loser's side. And the last player we're covering today is Kuroponzu, who came into Sumabato SP47 as the 26th seed. Kuroponzu was always known as a talented Rob main, but never far and away the best Rob, always being seen as relatively the same level as his main competition, Sasusoro, Saboten, Lapi, and others. That was, however, until today. Kuroponzu started off the weekend by losing in pools, getting upset 2-0 by In Jelly, who plays Wii Fit Trainer. So yeah, Kuroponzu entered top 96 from losers, faced with the daunting prospect of a massive losers run. But Kuroponzu wouldn't shy away and embarked on this journey. Kuroponzu went on the greatest and longest losers run of the entire tournament, defeating Moku Moku 3-1, Karage in a Game 5 set, Saboten 3-0, and Moneyright 3-0. And then, Kuroponzu's sets started being put on stream, and the steam didn't slow down. He defeated Suna in a Game 5 set, barely preventing a reverse 3-0, before defeating Ocha 3-0, and lastly getting a Game 5 upset victory over the 4th seed, Yoshidora. Surprisingly enough, this isn't actually the first time Kuroponzu has defeated Yoshidora, but this time it allowed Kuroponzu to make top 8 through loser's side. And just like that, we've got our top 8 finishers. And what's special about this top 8 is that none, absolutely 0 of these players have ever won a major. Only 3 of these players were even top 8 seeds, those being Ashimo, Raru, and Snow respectively. But even they have never won a major before, meaning that no matter how this tournament goes down, no matter what happens, someone is guaranteed to win their first ever major today. Let's start off in winner's side of top 8 and quickly recap how that went. On one side, we see Raru continuing his dominant record against Snow, defeating him 3-0 in a set that saw Snow use both his iconic Mario and his secondary Aegis, used only for emergencies. On the other side of winner's semis, it was much closer, with Shupi and Ashimo going to a Game 5. But in the end, it would be Ashimo who won that decisive Game 5, extending his lifetime record over Shupi to 6-0. And moving into winners finals against Raru. And unlike what I usually do, we'll actually cover that set first. Raru and Ashimo threw down in winners finals, and even though Ashimo was able to take a game, Raru won the set 3-1. With this, Raru moved into Grand Finals from winner's side, and Ashimo was cast down into loser's finals. And so, now we've got our loser's side of bracket. Ashimo is waiting patiently in loser's finals, Shupi and Snow are both waiting in loser's quarters, and our loser's 8th sets are Rarikakusu vs Kuropanzu, and Aik vs Yonepi. However, both of these sets would end up being dominant sweeps. On one side, Kuropanzu swept Rarikakusu's Falco 3-0, which is interesting because if you don't remember, Rarikakusu had defeated Sasusoro, considered Kuropanzu's main competitor for Best Japanese Rob, to even make top 8. And now, Kuropanzu swept Rarikakusu right back, making a very strong case for being the best Rob in Japan. On the other side of Loser's 8ths, we tragically have to say goodbye to one of our main characters, as Yonepi was defeated 3-0 by Aik and was eliminated at 7th place. But after having defeated Miya, Yonepi gave Pichu his best win and best placement ever since the COVID lockdowns. Mission accomplished, Yonepi. Mission accomplished. With this, Kuropanzu and Aik moved on in bracket, and shockingly enough, both of them defeated the opponents who were awaiting them. Kuropanzu ended up sweeping Snow's Mario 3-0, an extremely impressive win over the 3rd seed in a matchup that many Rob mains dislike. On the other side of loser's quarters, Aik defeated Shupi in a much closer set, going to Game 5 against him, but clutching out the set in the end, moving on in bracket to face off against Kuropanzu. The two big runs of the loser's side of bracket were now on a collision course, and only one of them could continue onward. Ultimately though, it would be Kuropanzu who won the set 3-1, getting to move on into loser's finals and eliminating Aik at 4th place. Kuropanzu now advanced into loser's finals against Ashimo, and while you may think this is where his run would finally be stopped, you'd be wrong. In 5 games, Kuropanzu managed to take the victory over Ashimo, eliminating Ashimo at 3rd place as the 5th seed, and with Kuropanzu advancing into grand finals from loser's side, after having been sent to losers all the way back in pools. Raru and Kuropanzu threw down in grand finals of Sumabato SP47, and let me tell ya, it was close. Kuropanzu managed to cause a bracket reset in a Game 5, and then in that reset, the two players went to Game 5 again, resulting in a Game 10 grands. But ultimately, it would be Raru who won that Game 10, eliminating Kuropanzu at 2nd place as the 26th seed, and with Raru winning Sumabato SP47 as the 2nd seed. This is not only Raru's first ever major win, but is actually Luigi's first ever major win. That may confuse some people, since Luigi won a Tech Republic back in the day, but as far as I understand, the Tech Republic that Luigi won isn't considered a major anymore, since the standards that Orion Rank and Lume Rank used were different. Don't get mad at me though, I'm quite literally just the messenger on this one. Technically speaking, Raru's win here at Sumabato SP47 is Luigi's first ever major win. But that win was only just the first way this tournament was notable. Kuropanzu lost all the way back in pools and then won 12 sets in a row to place 2nd, cemented as the best Rob in Japan, and probably a top 3 rep of the character. Yonepi had an insane run, giving Pichu his best performance in years. Shion had a massive breakout and is probably going to become a top player in years to come if this run was any indication, and in fact, both Kuropanzu and Aik got an increase in their Lumi rank points, and Yonepi is now worth Lumi rank points for the first time. So for all of that and more, I don't think it's a huge stretch to say that Sumabato SP47 was the craziest major of all time. That's going to be it for today's video. Before I go, shout out to my patrons at Laster, Farsco333, Logan S, Persipalm, Wawa, Mr. Sinister, Happy Feet, Oshiman, Mistybot, and my Twitter patrons Iltis, Diamond Blaze, and Ben L. Additionally, shout out my YouTube members Zichar Jr., Defective, Boston R, Gonas Kirby Fan, Nexus, Lokosoko, and my Twitter members Mike G, Lieutenant Forever, and Stormtrooper. Also, shout out my gifted Twitch members with their usernames Ruby Master, Kuro Ruko, LWB74, and Enchanted IBE. Lastly, extra special thanks to my tier 3 supporters Fat Blizzard, who says Big D will make it out of his slump, Avadoon, who says Mr. Rice is the go to smash content, Iltis, who says MKLeo always comes back, and Grant I Am, who hasn't given me their message yet. If you want to support me using any of these methods, links are in the description down below. Don't forget to use my coupon code RISTER in order to get 10% off of any order from Into the AM. And lastly, I want to give one last sincere thanks to Let Me Fly for their continued support of my channel. Link to their Twitter page is also in the description. Don't miss tomorrow's upload, but until then, I've been RisterMice, and thank you all so very much for watching.